What's up everyone, this is Yeeflex and welcome back to another behind the scenes video. As you can see in today's video, we're going to be breaking down one of my songs that I released on ArgoFox, which is Lost Without You. This is a song that I collaborated with Eccentric on, so this is amongst one of the favorites on ArgoFox personally for me. So like every other behind the scenes video, I'm going to be going into pretty much three things. First, I'm going to be breaking down the story of why we made Lost Without You and how Lost Without You was made. Then we're going to go into some of the breakdown and the structure of how this song is structured, and a few of the sounds, but mostly the structure. And then lastly, I'm just going to talk about how the song was released on ArgoFox and then some of the promotion that kind of went with this song. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. So let's get into the first part of the video, which is the reason why and the story behind how the song was created. So basically, I'll take you back to 2018. Eccentric released I Can Show You as his first release ever on ArgoFox, which if you haven't listened to that song, I recommend you go listen to. But basically, that song came out and it was a kind of nostalgia trip for me because that was a much more modern version of a 2013 2012 era electro slash complextro style, and personally I love that style of music. That's the genre of music, electro and kind of complextro. That's the style of music that got me into listening to electronic music or EDM in the first place. So I always have a soft spot for music like that. So basically, after I heard that song, I kind of charted in my own list of artists to work with on ArgoFox. I charted Eccentric into the list. One of the artists on that list was Velo, and before this song, I was able to create stories, as you guys saw in the last video. I was able to create stories with Velo actually 3 or 4 months before Lost Without You was released, so that's also pretty cool. And basically after he released that song I Can Show You, like 5 or 6 ArgoFox artists tried to get a mega collab going, which ended up falling through. But basically while that collab was going on, Eccentric and I were tasked with making the break part, like the middle break part of the song. And basically we started talking based on working on that project. And then shortly after we started the project kind of fell through, and then we stopped working on the project. But Eccentric and I still kept talking, and we kind of found out we had more things in common than we realized. And we just started talking about how we started making music, why we started making music, what was the style of music that got us into making electronic music and stuff like that. And basically I found out that he started making music at around the same time I did for the same reasons, and he was a big fan of complextro and electro, and he'd actually made some in the past. So for me that was awesome. I've always wanted to make a complextro song, and basically I asked him one day, asking him, hey Eccentric, do you mind if you working on a collab with me, because I've never made complextro or electro and I really want to make a song like that, but I feel like you'd have more expertise making an electro complextro song. And I just kind of shot it out just out of the blue, and luckily he said yes, and that's how Lost Without You came to be. So basically from that point forward we started making Lost Without You. And we actually started the project shortly after I finished Stories. So I think Stories I finished at the beginning of the 2019 year. So that's around the time we started Lost Without You. I know Lost Without You came out towards the end of the 2019 year. I think this song started either beginning or middle of 2019. But either way, we started working on this song, and basically the way that this song works versus Stories, going into the breakdown of the song now, is that with Stories, Velo had Ableton Live 9. As you can see here, this is Ableton Live 9. So Velo had kind of a master file, but we both shared the same file because we both had Ableton Live 9. So you could work together in Ableton if you have the same version. If you don't have the same plugins though, then you can't hear certain sounds, but they'll play, but you won't get the full idea. And Velo had like all the mastering and mixing plugins and stuff like that. So we shared the same file, but ultimately he had the master file at the end of the day because all of his plugins were the ones we were using for the final mix. Whereas this time with Eccentric, he was using Ableton Live 10 and I was using Ableton Live 9, as you could see. So basically we were working as if I was working with Maison, and Maison uses FL and I use Ableton. So Maison had the master file in FL and I had my dummy file, what I like to call, in Ableton. So I didn't have the full master track this time, not like Stories. So basically, as you can see in this project, it's really unorganized, as you've seen from my other projects where I have it more organized. And when I was working on this song, I guess I just didn't really care about the structure of the whole song in general because I knew I didn't have the master file. So I kind of just threw everything in at once and kind of went from there. So bear with me if I don't turn on certain channels or forget certain things, because for me myself it's a little unorganized, and I hope you guys get a general idea just based off of on how unorganized it is. But we'll dive into this song now and see what it's like. So basically the song's in 127 BPM. I always forget that. I always think it's 128 since I normally set most of my songs to 128, but that's a little bit different. And basically this right here is the initial idea, what I sent Eccentric. It's very basic, but I just wanted to get a point across, the intro, kind of the chord, the starting note, what key the song would be in, and some of the percussion. So this is what it sounds like. Whoops, okay, hold on. I did not realize I had these on. My bad there, my mistake. We'll play that again. So again, sorry about that. You hear here, it's a very basic intro. It's really just a chord, I think, in the key of G, basically, just in the key of G playing. That was the initial idea, just starting off, just to get a general idea of what key to start in. And then, as you can see here, these are all the audio samples he sent me back. So you kind of heard it earlier when I accidentally forgot those channels were on. But basically, Eccentric sent me these audio samples after he heard that intro section. Like, it's very basic, nothing special. And he made, what I'd like to say, something out of nothing. So you'll hear that now. So basically that's what he sent me. He sent me this section here that you guys would recognize as the intro section to Lost Without You. I mean, I was pretty blown away by me sending, you know, that really general idea, and then he just came up with this whole like intro, like out of the blue. Like, man, it's crazy. I mean, he had like his ARP going, his chords going, percussion. He had the like a Game Boyish type lead, as you could hear, kind of like a video game sound, and like that awesome groovy bouncy bass. Like, oh man, I could listen to that all day on its own. But basically he sent me all of that, and then he sent me a break section. Now that I can't remember if he sent me with these files or if that was like right after I gave him feedback for this. But basically he sent me that, and then we kind of went back and forth, I think via chat on Discord, and we just talked about the song a little bit more, and then he actually created like a full kind of first export of the song. So this is pretty much what it would sound like. And then I also added my guitar sound, so I'll show you guys that and then play the actual audio down there. So basically this is the same guitar sound that I used in other projects. So for this one I used the guitar sounding sound that I luckily got from my buddy Intermise, who unfortunately doesn't make music anymore. This was the KSD that I used from him, and then I put my own distortion, as you guys know, the 1993 Hot Solo rig, and this is what it is. Just basically use that to make it sound like this. And just had like a simple kind of ARP playing. And this is actually in the intro section. This was something I highly suggested we added to the intro section, which I think worked pretty well. It gave it a little bit of that Yeeflex flair, I guess, with the guitar being added. So you can now hear that section added in here. So now we're going to get into kind of the break before the drop and the drop. So in this part, I'm going to play the drop without the choir I added and the wub. But basically the choir in the section I added to give it, again, my own flair, because a lot of songs I make use some type of atmospheric instrument, whether it be strings, choirs, or just a pad in general, just because I like the sound of a lot of the atmospheric sounds. Gives it more ambiance, so to speak. And it's really interesting because initially I didn't think the choir added too much to the song, but when you listen to it actually cuts out quite a bit. So it's very interesting. You wouldn't think that a choir would add that much texture and tone, but it actually does. And I also had the choir kind of chopped into the drop itself, because not many complexural songs have a choir chopped, first off, and then second off, I mean, that was kind of like more of like my style, adding choirs to stuff and ambiance. So I thought it'd be a little unique for me to add a choir into a complexural drop, which you don't normally hear very often. So with the choir back on, you can kind of tell the difference of how this part sounds. So basically that's it. This wub is a Vengeance sample. I think it got muted or lower in volume quite a bit in the actual final version of the song. It's just a Vengeance sample I had. Wanted to add a little Complextro-ish wub on my end. I'll be honest, I got a little lazy and didn't feel like sound designing my own thing, so I just used a Vengeance sample. But the main focus for me was adding that choir kind of in as a one-shot. Basically to, you know, give a little extra texture, change it up a little bit in Complextro. I mean, I haven't really heard it. Maybe someone else has in a different song, but I don't really hear the Complextro kind of one-shots in a song. So basically that's how it was in the first one. I mean, Eccentric basically built up the first section, like he made the intro and then he made the break section and the first drop. So then the next sample he basically sent going past a little bit more of that first drop and into that actual first break. So I added my Razer sound. So in case I didn't go into what the Razer sound is, basically it's this massive sound that I looked up a tutorial for a very long time ago. And basically the massive patch I've just been using over the years, and basically just been using that as my riser. So been going from there and using that. And then we'll go into the break section. So basically I add a piano and a lead section. I'll play the section of the break without both of them. Not bad, right? Not bad. Could use a little bit more in this section. Not too much going on. And for both the choir and the piano, I will note now that I used Nexus. For the choir, I used in the voice section, DigiChoir and Nexus 2. And for the piano you're about to hear for this break section, I used Nexus as well. I think I used the Nexus Grand Piano. It's in the piano section as a Nexus Grand Piano. To be honest, I don't remember if the piano made it into the final mix, but I know the lead section did. And basically this lead is a sound I use a lot. It's called the Odd Say. It's a old 32-bit VST plugin. Nothing super fancy. I've used some of the sounds off of this plugin, but mainly I just use the default lead classic sound because it has a really cool sound. It has like a glide here. It sounds like a really smooth synth that glides, like very simple but smooth synth. Just to give you just a short demonstration, I'll just kind of that's pretty much what it sounds like. So basically I have that lead playing. It's just a lead I wrote up in a really short time. I was actually in my old part-time job, like I had some downtime. I brought my computer, so I remember I was talking to Eccentric and I came up with that lead just kind of on the fly, like while it was like in between a couple of events. So basically I did that, and then you can hear what it sounds like now. That's basically what I added, the piano and the lead. So it gives it a little bit more going on in that section. and actually Eccentric distorted the lead a little bit to a song that I was referring back to for Complextro songs at the time. I think it's a Vonix song. It might be called Nova. If I'm incorrect, I'll put it in the video later on. But basically, the song has like a more distorted lead. And then after that, we're going to go into this bounce. So basically, Eccentric worked on his own and added those two components in, and then did the first attempt at the second drop. The second drop sounds really good, but it wasn't really what I was going for per se. I'll let you guys hear it. So that drop was good, but at the time the song by AU5 came out called Eden, and I really liked the second drop on Eden, where it was more melodic, kind of a halftime melodic Complextro drop. So I mean, as you could tell, that first drop is great, but I wanted something a little more melodic, so I kind of told Eccentric like that drop sounded great, but can we try shooting for something a little bit more like Eden? And he agreed, and I think he incorporated some of the sounds from that second initial drop that he made, the much harder Complextro drop, and then he made into this type. Sorry about this, keep popping up. He made into this drop. As you guys know, this is the final version of the drop. So he made the more Eden kind of halftime Complextro drop. And basically, throughout these samples, the last thing I added was this water sample. It's basically this water sound of a rowing boat that I found on Sound Bible. It's just like a free sound. I wanted to add kind of a more atmospheric ending to the song. I don't know, I just thought it would fit. So basically after all of that, we basically came to what is pretty much now known as like the final version of the song, and it pretty much sounded like this. Oh, that's weird. Well, unfortunately it's not playing, but basically this is like the pre-mix to the final version. So we'll go up to here, we'll add that water sound. So unfortunately the last version of the song where should be playing isn't playing right now, but technical difficulties, that's how it goes. But basically it sounds basically like what the final version of the song sounds like. So if you guys want to listen to Lost Without You, you can find it on Argo Fox, you can find it on my Spotify, and you can find it on Eccentric Spotify as well, or SoundCloud, wherever you listen to your music. But basically that's pretty much it on dissecting this song. Again, sorry that my external hard drive thing keeps popping in and out. I don't know what's happening with it at the moment, but that is the full breakdown of the song. It's a little bit messy in terms of organization of the song. Wasn't really going for that at the time when I was making the song, and I haven't really changed it to be more organized because I haven't opened this project in quite a while. I mean, I've opened it up a couple times just to make sure all the files were mostly there. Some of them aren't there. As you can see, media files are missing. But basically, after we finished the song, we wanted to release the song on a label. we actually tried the Arcadium, which is the Fat Rats label, and it got through the initial stage of A&R, but after about a month, they rejected the song, saying that it didn't fit the Arcadium. So after that, we sent the song to the owner of ArgoFox, and we were hoping he liked the song, and he loved the song. He wanted to release it. He said the song was perfect, the style was perfect, which was awesome. And for this song, I wanted to do a little bit of a different release where the ArgoFox owner actually helped us push promotion for the song through some of the connections he had within the electronic music I guess industry, or YouTube promotional music channel industry. So luckily this song was promoted on Yume, and the one I really like is Funky Panda. I mean, I've been listening to Funky Panda for as long as I've been listening to Monster Cat, which is quite a long time, and I've always wanted a song on Funky Panda. And the fact that I got to make a Complextro song, which was on my bucket list to make, again, sorry about this, since that was a bucket list song to make, a Complextro song, that was a check off the bucket list. And then after that, I got to have a song promoted on Funky Panda. That was just like icing on the cake. So overall, this release was really successful. I'm really glad like this song came out as well as it did, and it was just an overall fun project to make. I can't say I'll make Complextro again, because certainly I'm not super skilled, and I'll give my best attempt, but you guys may never hear it released. But anyways, this is Lost Without You. Eccentric and I had a really fun time making this song. I think he can attest to that as well. And basically it was two artists that didn't really know each other, became friends, and released a song together. So overall, got 2 bucket list check items off my list for Complextro, and a song promoted on Funky Panda. So there's not much more I can ask from the song other than just the success it's been, and how people have received it pretty positively over the years, at least 2 years now. So overall, that's the behind the scenes video. Again, really sorry that my external hard drive keeps popping up with the thing. I don't know why it keeps resetting, and I'm sorry that this audio file didn't seem to work today. It worked the last time I tried playing it, but today it just didn't seem to work. So overall, you guys kind of got the gist of it, hopefully, and I hope you guys learned something from this, and how different collabs work, and how different artists do collabs. So hopefully you guys like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next behind the scenes video. All right, peace.